right, I've got 10:31 here on my clock, and I guess we will go ahead and get started, be respectful of everyone's time today. So thank you all for joining us. I'm Bailey Canales with Sunbelt Title Agency, and today we're going to be talking to you guys about Facebook advertising and how that can improve your business as a real estate agent. I'm joined with Melanie Don Molina Wood. She's our educational director over at Sunbelt Title Agency, and we also have Kathy Pollard from Space Coast Board of Realtors on with us too. We will be recording this session, so you guys can easily go back and rewatch it if anything gets out of whack or you guys get a call from your many clients because the market is so hot right now. Just stay tuned, and if you guys do have any questions throughout the presentation, I do encourage you guys to go into the chat box. Ask away. We'll jump in as we go with questions, or we'll save some for the end as well. So just let us know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, definitely throw them in on the chat. So with our next slide, I did want to introduce you guys a little bit to Sunbelt Title Agency. We're located here in Melbourne, Florida, with 40 other office locations throughout the state. We're right next to Hemingway's Tavern, the fun bar over there, movie theater, and right behind the Melbourne Square Mall. So when you do get your commission check at the closing, there's many fun places to spend it right near our office. We are an industry leader, so Sunbelt Title has been in business for over 25 years. We have the unique ability to own our own underwriter, which helps you guys and your clients just to know that they have that safety and security. And not only that, but we can really get our closings done on time and efficient. We've been voted for Ethisphere's most ethical company for 9 consecutive years in a row. And what that means for you guys is with all the fraud that's out there, not just specifically wire fraud, but there's fraud all throughout the real estate community, that you guys can really count on us to provide the ethical services that you and your clients deserve. So we are Sunbelt Title. We are your trusted partner, and we handle the details while you grow your business. Some different options that we're providing as far as closings go because of COVID is RON. So we're doing the remote online notary option, which is what I would say is the most hands-off option for you and your clients. Everything is done electronically. So we have remote online notaries to really verify everyone's contact information, their signatures, and all of that. So that'll be really the most hands-off option. We also have mobile notaries that will send directly to the client if they are not comfortable leaving their home, but we can send that services to them. We have hybrid closings as well, where we'll send the majority of the package over to the client before closing. That way, any documents that they can sign without a notary, they can go ahead and do so that when they do come to the office, it's just a small amount of paperwork that they'll have to sign in front of the notary. And finally, we have the curbside or valet closings. That's the one that they come up to our office. They kind of just pull around like you would get your to-go foods right now, and we can notarize them in the comfort and safety of their own vehicle. So with those 4 closing options, we really like to have our clients' safety and peace of mind, when it comes to the closing time frame. So how we handle the details for you as a real estate agent, reach out to me. I'd like to be your title resource when it comes time to the closing, and even before. Anything that I can do to help you grow your business, that's what I'm here for. If you need any kind of quotes for seller or buyer side, I'm happy to do that as well. Association docs have been a big one. So if you're working with a client who's purchasing or selling within a homeowners or a condo association, let me know. I can get those rules and regs to you guys at no cost. Whereas I see some of the associations charging you as realtors up to like $250 to $300. So just let me know. I'm happy to provide that service for you as well. Virtual marketing has been a big thing right now, especially because of COVID and quarantining. So if you guys do have a listing coming up, you need help on virtual marketing, let me know. Although today's class will definitely give you a leg up on the competition with the Facebook ads and virtual marketing. We've got that innovative technology at Sunbelt Title. If it's one thing that I'm grateful for COVID for, it's that we've really embraced the technology. With the remote online notaries, with all of our quotes, and now doing the webinars online for you guys, it's really been something that we've stepped up. And educational webinars. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you guys to Melanie. She's going to go ahead and take over. She is our Facebook guru, and she's going to help you guys out with learning about Facebook advertising. Again, just keep in mind, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please put them in the chat box. We are recording today's session, and Miss Melanie, up to you.
Bailey, thank you so very much. All right, so as they said, we are going to be talking about Facebook advertising today. It's going to be a little bit interesting today because I typically give this class in person, so there's a lot of interaction. I am going to ask Bailey to interrupt me as questions come in, assuming that they pertain to what we're talking about right then and there. I just find that for this type of a class, it's a little bit easier if you're able to ask your questions right as I'm covering that little section. The other thing I do want to kind of let you know is that Facebook is one of those programs that is constantly updating. Everything that I'm going to go over today is definitely all still there, but I cannot promise you that 6 months from now, all of the information will be exactly the same. Every single time I teach the class, I go in ahead of time and double check within Facebook, and inevitably I find that they have changed something. So the basics are all going to be there, but just be aware that sometimes things are going to look a little bit different. All right, without further ado, let's talk about Facebook advertising. This one I absolutely want some audience participation on. So if you could, in the chat box, or go ahead and just unmute yourself, who is legally accountable for the advertisement's quality and accuracy when I'm talking about Facebook advertising? So I want you all to answer that.
We've got some comments saying the broker is responsible. Some of them are saying that we as the posters are responsible.
Well,
Author and the broker.
Whoever said the broker is absolutely correct. Now, yes, obviously it will ultimately roll down onto you as the individual agent because your broker is going to be looking at you with a raised eyebrow. But from a legal perspective, the broker is responsible. And I want to emphasize that point because a lot of times when we're talking about social media, we tend to, we're trying to use it for our business, but at the same time, we're looking at it as very much of a personal, social, not work-related type of a platform. And it's critically important to understand that Facebook, particularly when you're advertising on it or you have your business page set up, is an arm of your business-related marketing, and therefore all of the same rules apply. So please reach out to your brokers to make sure that your ads are complying before you get into any kind of trouble. I also want to take a minute to talk about the structure of the campaigns. We talk about marketing funnels and things of that nature. So within Facebook, and for the most part, you won't really notice this because your campaign will be one ad, and so therefore there's one ad set and one ad. So it's just kind of a straight up and down line. But keep in mind with Facebook that it doesn't have to be that way. So you can have multiple ads, each of those ads having a different format, different ad copy, different links, that type of stuff, all under one ad set, which has a specific audience target, budget, and so on. And that can all be under a particular campaign. And campaign equals marketing objective in Facebook. And this will make a little more sense as we go through here. But just remember, it doesn't have to be, a straight up and down line. You can start building these pyramids. I also want to take a quick minute to talk about the difference between inbound marketing and outbound marketing. Outbound marketing is what we're used to historically. That would be, sending out the postcards and placing the ads in the newspaper, things of that nature. So basically, they say interruptive, push tactic. There's nothing wrong with any of these marketing methods, but just keep in mind they tend to be very one way. So you send out your marketing efforts, and if you're lucky, somebody will pick up the phone on the other side and call you. But with regard to the specific ad, there's very little back and forth. There's very little conversation. Inbound marketing is a little bit different focus. So yes, you're still putting the information out there, but the intent of the information tends to be a little bit different. The intent is to start a conversation. And this is very, very important to remember when we're talking about Facebook or any kind of social media. That is very, very much inbound marketing. So if you use your outbound marketing techniques in an inbound marketing media, you're not going to have a lot of success. And where I see this very specifically with Facebook is I will see agents constantly posting about, brand new listing here. And it's one picture, the typical curve shot with the price and everything else like that. Exactly what you would see on a postcard. That is outbound marketing. And you're using outbound marketing in an inbound marketing environment. So let's be very, very careful as we go through the class today to try to get out of that outbound marketing thinking and into the inbound marketing thinking. Looking at inbound marketing, we always want to take a look at, our pipeline, just like we would anywhere else. So, in a typical world, we're going to try to attract the strangers. We're going to try to turn them into visitors to our, website, or in this case, to our Facebook page. We want to convert them into leads. And in Facebook, a lead is going to be simply that they have reached out to you or allowed you to reach out to them. It's going to be, once you hit the leads area section, then it's going to kind of come off of social media and into real life. And that's where you have converted them into customers. And then hopefully after a successful closing, you will turn them into promoters. And you can reach all of these groups with your Facebook marketing, but each one will require a little bit different strategy. So when you're starting, now this particular page here is a little bit old, so I do apologize to you, but with Facebook, you're going to be looking at what they call marketing objectives. And their various marketing objectives are brand awareness, reach, video views, traffic, so on and down the line. You can read them there. And you'll notice the chart is actually still quite good because it's giving you an idea from Facebook's perspective what each of these objectives, each of these marketing campaign objectives are supposed to be doing for you. So brand awareness is building your brand. Same thing with reach. If you want to get into lead generation, then you're talking about actually making those connections, turning those visitors into actual leads that you're talking to. And then driving sales on down the line. So this is a great slide to hold on to, and I will be happy to send this out to Bailey so she can share it with you, because it does help you focus in on what you're trying to accomplish with your Facebook ad. One of the biggest errors that I see in Facebook marketing is that you go in without an objective. You would not spend the time and the money printing a postcard or crafting an advertisement for a newspaper without knowing what your objective is and knowing what your target audience is. Same thing with Facebook. You have to have all of that ready and very clear in your mind before you start clicking buttons on Facebook. All right, so I'm going to convert that. You saw my pyramid earlier. I basically have taken information that came from a couple of books that I had read on this subject and kind of converted it into, again, a kind of a brand that will help you. Chris Smith, by the way, is a terrific, terrific author in this area. So a lot of this came from his book. So again, we talked about strangers. Okay, this is where you're going to want to be attracting them, and you're going to be using, social media, keywords, things of that nature to attract them to your website or to your page. And then once you are trying to convert them from visitors to lead, that's where you're going to be looking at the landing pages, the call to actions, and the fill in the forms type things. And then again, you want to be able to get them converted into actual customers. This is where you can invite them to your own webinars, get them to one of your open houses, things of that nature. So let's go ahead and get started with the actual Facebook. Easiest way to get there is on your actual page there. Look up at the blue bar on the top. You'll see a little button that says Create. When you click on that, one of the choices is going to be Add. Now, there are a couple of other ways that you can reach that. You can see on the screen here where it says More. You could click on More, and there's the option to take you to your ad center there as well. But today, we're just going to click Create and Add. This is what I was just saying with the other. You can also just reach it directly in your address box. But be careful because be familiar with what you're doing before you try the other methods of approaching it, simply because the screens will look different than what we're going to be looking at today. It's all the same information, but things may come at you in a little bit different order. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the campaign objective for traffic. And if you remember, we just looked at that chart earlier. You know, we are basically trying to generate traffic to perhaps our website, or, you know, and that's what we're going to use as our example for today. Or perhaps we want to drive traffic to sign up for an event like an open house or something like that. All different things that you can use for driving traffic. And again, that's not the only campaign objective available to you. It's simply the example that we're going to be using today. I do want to take 1 second, and again, audience participation, so get ready to type or take yourself off of mute. What do you all believe is the difference between brand awareness and reach? Because those are both under the awareness you know, objective, but they're two very, very different campaigns. One is brand awareness and reach. What do you think is the difference?
I know we did have some latecomers because we had that awesome launch here a few minutes ago. So if you guys can just type in the chat, that would be great. And utilize that chat throughout the webinar so that we can get your questions and comments. But if anyone knows the difference between brand awareness versus reach, please go ahead and type it in now.
And I will go ahead and tell you. So basically, when you're talking about brand awareness, we always go by the rule of thumb that it takes a minimum of 6 touches before they will remember your name. The same concept. I mean, basically, you are your brand. And that's the idea behind the campaign objective of brand awareness, is that you want to be able to reach the single person multiple times. So when you choose a brand awareness as your campaign objective, just remember that whatever you are running that ad, whatever the ad is going to reach the same individual multiple times. In contrast, when you're talking about reach, you're trying to reach the maximum number of people possible without any consideration or concern about reaching them more than once. So again, you're just trying to get it out there. So, you know, think about the different types of situations where you would use brand awareness versus reach. Brand awareness would be something, again, you're trying to build your name in a new market. Or you just opened up your Facebook business page, so you want to make sure that you're getting it out there to people. That would be brand awareness, reaching the same people over and over. Reach, on the other hand, would be ideal if you were doing an open house and you wanted to market that. So you want to reach the maximum number of people, but it's an event that if they're interested in, they're going to go ahead and register for right away. So you really don't need to reach them multiple times. So that's an example of the difference between those two. The others are fairly self-explanatory. So let's go ahead and move on. Once you select your objective, then you're going to be asked to name the campaign. And again, this should look familiar from my little pyramid earlier. You're going to name the campaign, you're going to create an ad set and name that, and you're going to create the ad and name that. And again, for today, it's going to be straight up and down, but just remember it could be a pyramid. This is very, very important because one of the next things that you're going to need to decide on is whether or not you are in a special ad category. For our example today, we are going to be marketing a specific theoretical house. So yes, this would fall under the special ad categories, and you would definitely need to toggle that on and select housing. And basically what this is going to do is it is going to cause your ad to come under special scrutiny with Facebook, but that's good because basically what they're trying to do is make sure for their own protection that your ad complies with fair housing requirements as well as Dodd-Frank requirements. Dodd-Frank having more to do with the financing end of things, but if you're putting any kind of language in your ad that pertains to financing, that's going to take some scrutiny as well. So you don't need to select this if you're going to be doing something that's a lot more general. Again, we talked about brand awareness. You know, maybe you're just trying to drive traffic to get them to like your Facebook page or something more general, then in those cases, you wouldn't necessarily need to do special ad category. But if you are in any way marketing a specific house or an open house or something of that nature, then you would need to do special ad categories. Moving on, we've already named our ad set, but if you didn't, this would be another place that you can do it. And we want to choose where is the traffic going to go. Remember, we chose traffic as our campaign, so we need to drive that traffic somewhere. The most typical one is going to be to a website. And when I say website, this can also be a landing page, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But keep in mind, you could also be sending traffic to other sources, including WhatsApp and things of that nature. But again, most typically, you're going to be driving it to a website. So then you set up your budget and your schedule. One of the things that I love about Facebook advertising is that unlike trying to, do things in say, a newspaper or a magazine or on television or something of that nature, where basically you are told what the audience is, the size of the audience, and then there's a flat fee for that, whatever the size is or the region. With Facebook, it works a little bit the reverse. So the actual dollars you are spending are much more in your control. So you are able to go ahead and select up here under budget. You can do a lifetime budget or a daily budget. Be very, very careful. Facebook tends to default to daily budget. And if you're not paying attention, you could wind up spending $75 a day until your credit card maxes out, which did in fact happen to a real estate agent that I taught this class for a couple of years ago. So be very, very careful with that. And this is my opinion, you're very much safer always using lifetime budget, partly for the financial things, but also because you do not ever want to be running a specific ad for more than 2 weeks in a row. So if you have a daily budget, it's just going to go on and on and on and on until you either remember to turn it off or you run out of money. With a lifetime budget, you can then set up your start dates and end dates. And I think that this helps, in a number of ways, but particularly you do not want your ads to get stale, especially if you're using something that is going to be reaching the same person multiple times. You don't want them to get so sick of you that they block your ad. You've really defeated your purpose there. So keep your ads fresh. Don't let them run for more than 2 weeks at a time. Use the lifetime budget. You'll notice I've got $75 in there. Again, that's not any kind of a minimum that you need to use. In fact, most Facebook ads are actually run on smaller lifetime budgets than that. However, $75 is the number that Chris Smith, the gentleman I mentioned before, has tested and found is the most effective as far as getting the rate of return that you're looking for. Anything less than that, you may still get returns, but the rate of return is lower. And then, of course, above that, yes, you can increase your rate of returns, but you're also increasing your outlay. So $75 seems to be the minimum per ad that is the most effective rate of return. You'll also notice that you've got a little hide options. Normally, you would not see everything that is below that hide option button. You'd have to click on hide options to open that up. But you can also change the schedule that your Facebook ad is running on. Normally, if you don't do anything, it's just going to be running on a pretty steady schedule 24/7. If you have enough experience in your market to know that you really, really, really want to target, Monday at noon and Wednesday at noon and Friday at noon, just those times, no others, you can set that up right on here. So again, look at your analytics as you go. We can also take a look at some of the national information, which is right here. Excuse me, this is global. So you can see by this right here from Facebook that the engagement on Wednesday right around noon is very, very high, whereas the weekends and things like that or in the middle of the night don't tend to be. So again, you can go ahead and target your ads using information like this, or more particularly as you start getting better at placing these ads from your own analytics. Alrighty, so then we're going to go ahead and start setting our audience size. One of the fun parts is on the right-hand side, when you're setting up the ad, you're always going to have this little dashboard over here. And it's going to tell you, based on the specific campaign that you have chosen, what your estimated daily reach is going to be. And in this case, you'll see it says landing page views. That is, for this type of a campaign, the holy grail, if you will. This is where it's saying, with what I have set up right here, that between 8 to 48 people will click through on my ad and go over to the landing page or the website or wherever it is that I am sending them. That is wonderful. Now, that does not mean that they have at this point converted to customers or even to leads, but they took the action that I was trying to accomplish with this particular campaign, which is to go over to that landing page. So always be keeping an eye as you're changing everything else, your budget and your audience and so on. Keep an eye on those numbers and make sure that they are falling within the rate of return that you were looking for. This will also give you a nice reference point, if you will, to see how your ad is performing after you go ahead and run the ad. So if based on the information that I've got here, I'm expected to receive between 8 to 48 landing page views per day, and I'm receiving a lot less than that, then there's something wrong with the copy or the photos or something else that I'm using in my ad. If I'm getting more than 48, then I've absolutely hit the jackpot. So it just gives you an idea of how you're doing. All right, so today we're going to be talking about a new detailed audience, but I do want you to be aware that when Facebook is talking about audience, there's multiple different options in here. So you do have your saved audience, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a new detailed audience that you have previously created and you have saved for reuse. And for most of us, you're going to end up doing that because you are going to be hitting the same target audience quite a bit. And then custom audiences, we're not going to talk about today, but they're very, very cool. So we might want to come back and do a more advanced class on those. And then within your detailed audience, which is what we're talking about today, you're going to be able to choose your location, age, gender, languages, and some additional detailed targeting based on their interests. So let's see how this all looks. So right here, and like I said, I mentioned custom audiences. Custom audiences, just very, very briefly, are things like they have interacted. So remember, the point of this particular ad is to get them over to the landing page. Facebook offers something called a pixel. Again, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail on that today, but a pixel records the person's IP address when they go to that landing page that I want them to go to. So with that, then Facebook is going to create a custom audience and they're going to have it there. So now what I can do is what's called retargeting. So I can send out a new ad next week that only targets the people that went to today's landing page. So maybe I can target that custom audience with an upcoming open house for the house that I'm going to be marketing today. So that's what one type of custom audience. Another type of custom audience is you can upload your mailing list, and Facebook will do its very best, and it's very good at it, by the way, scarily so, of locating the Facebook accounts for all of the people that are on your current database. And then it will create a custom audience for you with that as well. Special ad audiences are also very cool. So, you can be able to target people who like other Facebook pages and things of that nature. So again, deserves an entire class just by itself, but it is a great tool to keep in the back of your mind for once you get a little bit more advanced in using Facebook advertising. You can choose locations, age, and gender. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. With the locations, it does not have to be a radius around the house that you're marketing. You have all sorts of different options with this. Maybe you want to market this particular house to England or to Spain or wherever. You can go to other countries, you can go to other states, you can go to other regions, other zip codes, all different kinds of ways of choosing where the group is that you're going to be targeting. And yes, you can target the entire United States if you want, but be aware that you don't want to be targeting such a broad group that you're not reaching anybody. You know, the amount of people that you're reaching is going to drop off. I mean, you'd have to have either a huge budget or you're just not going to reach everybody. There are some exceptions. I have, seen properties out there that, have an airstrip in the backyard, literally. So that might be something where you might want to go ahead and target nationally, but you're going to be targeting such a very, very small segment of that national audience that you're good with it. Most of the time, however, we're going to want to restrict it to a particular region. And you can also upload zip codes just by bulk. So, and you can do multiple things, as I'm showing here in this particular example.
Hey, Melanie.
Yes?
Stephanie would like to know if there is a way to determine how many people are associated with your Facebook pixel.
To clarify, when you say associated with the what?
Facebook pixel.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, you would have to turn on that option within the setting up of the ad. And then when it creates the actual custom audience back here in Facebook, then yes, you would definitely be able to see how many people are in that particular custom audience. However, you're not going to actually get their specific information beyond the IP address. So it's a little bit kind of interesting. It's not something where you could use that and then turn around and download their names and their email addresses. That information won't be there, but you will have them as a custom audience to retarget. And yes, you will know how many people came from that particular pixel or landing page. Did that answer it?
I believe so. Stephanie would like to know further. My pixel is on, but I've never known how to look up the analytics for that. So that's something that you've reviewed.
Okay, that is getting into the advanced class. Bailey, if you'll put a little button on that one, I'll be happy to address it, after class via email. She is talking about two different things. There's analytics, which is basically just seeing how your ads overall are working. And then there are the custom audiences, which is, I think, what she's actually looking for. And I will be happy to answer that after the class.
Wonderful. It might be a great opportunity for us to do the advanced class here in a couple of weeks too. So thank you for that, Stephanie.
Absolutely. All right, so moving on. This one is one of my favorite parts of setting up your Facebook ad. For the most part, it's going to default to everyone in this location. And honestly, a lot of people don't even look twice at it. I think it's important. Take a look at it because you'll see you've got some choices here. Everyone in this location, people who live in this location, recently in this location, and traveling in this location. There may be certain types of ads where everyone in this location is perfect. On the other hand, maybe you only want to target people who live in this location. Perhaps the point of your ad is to generate appointments to get listings. So do you really want to be targeting people who are just traveling in this location, or do you want to zero in on only people who live in this location? On the other hand, if you were marketing a home that would make an ideal vacation home, then you might want to just target recently in this location and or traveling in this location and leave out the people who live in this location because chances are they're not going to be looking for a vacation home in their same town. So keep these in mind, and there's no one right or wrong. You just have options, and I think they're great options. Continuing on with languages, at last count, there were more than 100 languages available, but be aware that if you limit the language, you are limiting your audience as well. I mean, that's the whole point. You're defining your audience. So in other words, if you put Spanish in there as a language, you're not telling them that you speak Spanish as well as English. You are literally targeting an audience that has set up their Facebook to be delivered to them in Spanish. So just keep that in mind. They may also have it listed as one of their languages. So it's going to eliminate, everybody who has their Facebook set up as English. or who has it set up as Russian or whatever other language they may have. So be careful with this. If you leave it blank, it'll kind of hit everybody. But if you want to target a specific audience, this is a great way to do it. Also be careful, like with the age and the gender. Most of the time, I'm going to recommend don't play with this because you do not want to be running afoul of fair housing with that by targeting, one gender or another, or even ages. Be very, very, very careful with ages. So, use your discretion on that. Just keep in mind fair housing. All right, now we get to the fun part. We're going to start talking about the detailed targeting. One thing I do want to point out is that typically, and if you'll remember the slide that I showed earlier, typically detailed targeting, you can go by interests, demographics, and behaviors. But because we chose housing, special considerations housing earlier for this specific example, the only option we're going to have available to us is interests. And it makes sense if you think about it. If you look at behaviors and you look at demographics and some of the things that are available to us within those detailed targeting sections, it's very, very easy that we could be running afoul of particularly fair housing and or possibly Dodd-Frank. We do not want to be targeting people based on their politics or even perhaps their income or things of that nature. Life events would include things like divorced or married or have children, don't have children, things of that nature. So those are not going to be available to us if we are doing a housing specific type of an ad. They will be available to you, however, if you were doing more of a generalized brand awareness or trying to get people to like your business page, things of that nature. Then you can do a lot more targeting without running afoul of fair housing. All right, so going into that, we're taking a look at interests. The easiest thing to do is you can either click the browse button or you can just start typing words in. I don't have a tremendous amount of luck just typing the words in, so I usually do the longer thing of browse, partly because, again, this is an area that Facebook is constantly changing. So something that was there 2 weeks ago may or may not be there today. But to give you an example of how we would use that, let's say that you were marketing a property that would make a wonderful rental investment property. So you may go ahead in there and start typing in real estate investors, real estate investment. I think there's a real estate investment club is one of the interests that is available to you in there. And it would pull up these different groups that may be specifically interested in a rental investment property. Another example, one dear to my heart, is if I was listing a LEED or an FGCB certified green home, I might want to put in there sustainability, and it's and that is one of the options in there. So by selecting that, I'm going to be targeting this particular Facebook ad to people who have listed sustainability as one of their interests. And there's other ones too, and you can use multiple ones. I saw solar energy in there, solar power, water conservation, those types of things. I think all of those are still in there. So I could do all of those to target people who have expressed an interest on Facebook in those different types of sustainable and greenhousing areas. And then my ad is going to be targeted to them. But do keep a close eye on your audience size. You can go so crazy with the detailed targeting that you drop that down into the red zone, and then your ad is basically not going to reach anybody. So it's a balance. You want to have an audience broad enough to reach them, but targeted enough that you're spending your money wisely. Let me know, Bailey, if there's any questions, because I usually get questions right around here.
So far, so good.
Very good. You have some additional options for the connections. And again, I love these. So, drop down a little bit. Oops, let me see. Yeah, add a connection type right down there. So when you open that up, it's going to be more ways of targeting people. And I particularly think friends of people who like your Facebook business page is a great one. It depends on the situation, but especially if you were, trying to generate traffic for your Facebook page and likes for your Facebook page. Assuming that the people who currently like your Facebook page are the people that you want to work with, then you definitely can use this to attract their friends, like people. We also had talked about using those pixels. Yes, I'm bringing it up again, but this would be where, maybe they have already responded to an event previously or something of that nature. So it definitely allows you to target people who have either already gone to your landing page or have already responded to an event. Maybe you set up an event for an open house, and now you want to target the people that responded to that event on Facebook, not the people that necessarily came to the event, but the people who responded on Facebook on that event. You can now target just those people with this particular ad. So a lot of very, very powerful tools in here. You can also do combinations. And again, this is getting a little bit more advanced. Always keep an eye on that little, I call it the speedometer up there, and make sure that you're not eliminating too many people. But again, you can do, friends of people who like my Facebook page, but I want to exclude the people who already like my Facebook page. Or you may want to do just the people. So you can do combinations of things like that. You can save the audience. As I said earlier, you're definitely going to want to, if it's something that you're going to use over and over, you definitely want to be saving it. And then the next thing down, and the page will look a little bit different than this, but ad placement. Be careful with ad placement when you're starting out. You can usually trust Facebook to try to maximize your exposure because that's how they keep you coming back. But if you've got a little bit of experience with this and you want to edit your placements, you can go ahead and open that up, and you can see that it allows you to include your Instagram account if you have your Instagram account synced with your Facebook page. You can choose to only allow it on mobile devices, which is not a bad idea these days because everybody's using their mobile devices for this type of stuff. Or if you're old school and you want to target that sidebar that shows up on the desktop. So you can change these. Just be very careful when you're doing so. Make sure that you're experienced enough with it that you know what you're doing. And then optimization for ad delivery. This one tends to be probably one of the most confusing parts of placing your ad. The main thing that we want to make sure is that our optimization matches with what we are trying to accomplish as our campaign. So in this case, we want people to click on our ad and go to the landing page. And in this case, the landing page is going to be more information about the property that we're marketing. So in this case, we definitely want to push for people to click. We don't care about the views so much, we care about the clicks. A different type of a campaign, such as we talked about the reach campaign, we would care more about the views, how many people put eyeballs on the actual ad. We don't really care if they click on anything, we just want them to see it. So again, keep in mind what your goals are when choosing your optimization thing. And then we've already talked about the budget and everything else like that. And you'll see down here, and again, this is going to look very, very different depending on which campaign you chose. But this is what I was talking about before. When do you get charged? I would not want to be charged for this ad just because people saw the ad. I would want to be charged per click, when they actually clicked over to my landing page. I'm going to get charged more per person, but it's the results that I'm looking for. Impression is going to be a lot less per person, but in this particular campaign, it's not going to do me any good. I don't care if they saw it, I want them to click. Whereas, again, if we were doing a brand awareness, then the lower cost per person of impressions would definitely work. And you'll also notice down there, you've got ad scheduling. We talked about that earlier. Okay. So just a little bit more of information about what I was just telling you, okay? So you definitely can switch these back and forth depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And again, more information. I'm going to give you all these slides so that you'll have them as you're running through. I already mentioned the ad scheduling and the delivery type I didn't mention actually. Basically, you will have an option in there to do what's called accelerated, which basically means the bulk of your impressions are going to happen at the beginning of the 2 weeks, or you can just do it where it's evenly spaced. Again, depends on what your goals are. If you were doing an open house or a just listed, then an accelerated delivery might be more worthwhile to you. Normally, a standard is fine. Ads per click, I can't see it because it's kind of being hidden a little bit by my screen here. But I think right about here you've got the ads per click, the average cost, and this information comes from WordStream. So $1.81 per person. And again, when we're trying to actually get them to go over and look at the full information about the house, $1.81 isn't bad if that person turns around and buys your house and you get that nice commission from it. So again, this just gives you a little bit of a rule of thumb. If you find that you're spending quite a bit more per click, then you need to go back and take a look at your ad because something is wrong with it. It's basically not enticing people to click, so the cost per click is going up. Likewise, if it's below $1.81, give yourself a gold star because you're doing it right.
I love that graph, Melanie. When you set it for link clicks, does that mean you will only be charged when someone clicks?
In this particular example, yes. And like I said, depending on what your original campaign objective is, you're going to get different possibilities there. Let me go back a little bit second here. So you may get impressions, you may get daily unique reach. Daily unique reach would be a great one. Remember we talked about we wanted to get the maximum number of people to see our ad as opposed to the same person seeing it over and over. So our options are going to be different depending on what our campaign choice was and what we're trying to accomplish. So for today, yes, link clicks. We could also potentially use landing page views as well. Those will be pretty much the same for our campaign today. Link clicks would also include if we were sending them to the, to our mobile device or something like that, whereas landing page is very, very clearly to a landing page. And the landing page, by the way, Facebook also allows you to create a landing page within Facebook. So there's another campaign within Facebook that's called lead generating. And with lead generating, it is literally set up so that you are collecting the name and email information for whoever is clicking on your ad. So a great one for that would be if you created a white paper or an ebook about real estate, you could run an ad promoting that ebook. And then, when they click on that ad, it takes them to a Facebook landing page that you would create when you select that option. And then in that case, you would want to use landing page views as your optimization for ad delivery and how you would get charged. Because again, you don't care if they just see the ad. You want them to actually go over to the landing page. So it depends on which campaign you're using, but that's how it works. Be careful with the bid strategy. Again, save this one for when you are a lot more familiar with Facebook marketing. You can set a cap, which is basically, I said that $1.81. I mean, you could go ahead and set the cap at, no more than $1.85. But be careful because that's going to definitely reduce the number of people that are being reached. You're better off getting your analytics and knowing what is more typical for your area before you start playing with all of this. And again, when you get charged, you can change that, run it on the schedule. These are all things that we had talked about. So continuing on.
Going back to the landing page, does Facebook charge to use their landing page?
No, it's and when Facebook's talking about a landing page, it's not like this beautiful, pretty landing page. It's basically a simple form for you to collect their information. I mean, it's extremely simple. It's just an information collecting form. So, you know, when I'm talking about landing pages, all a landing page is, and in the truest definition of a landing page, is simply a web page, something that resides on the website that does not go anywhere else. And its sole purpose is to collect information, you know, fill in the blanks, and then we'll send you this and that and the other. So Facebook will help you create a landing page that is within their, you know, within their environment, and they do not charge you extra for that. That is part of that ad campaign, that lead generation ad campaign. When I'm talking about landing pages today, when we're talking about sending it to a website, I'm talking about sending it to your, you know, to your company website or to wherever it is that the information, the MLS information about the property. And that's not a true landing page, but for our purposes, we can call it that. So back here again, when you go to create the ad, you know, we are creating a new ad today, but you are able to go ahead and use an existing post as your ad if you want to. So if you created the post last week and now you just want to turn it into an ad, you can do that. You choose your format here. And today we're going to be choosing the single image or video. But you do have some other options, and these options may change depending on what campaign you chose. So name your ad, verify your page, and you can also, the Insta experience is great if you're going to be running this ad also on Instagram, you know, Facebook Live, different places like that. So you can go ahead and add that as well. A little bit of information, you know, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll include this with everything. Keeping in mind the Insta experience, it's basically just as soon as they land on it, it'll basically open up to another thing, and it's a really, really cool experience for them. It will only run on the mobile devices. And back to the questions earlier, yes, you can embed your Facebook pixel there. So that might be a great way of gathering IP addresses for those retargeted ads. All right, now we get to the fun. We already selected the single photo video, and you're going to see where it says use the template. We want to use the template because basically they've got some terrific templates in there, and it just makes it so much easier for you. You can do a single picture, but this is basically just like templates that you'd see anywhere. Any of you out there using Canva, you know they have templates. So it's just giving you a base to start with. And I think that they're quite creative, and it just makes your job so much easier to create a really eye-catching, enticing Facebook ad. So clicking on the templates, there's all different kinds, and they're changing constantly. There's right now at last count, there's like 14 different options in here, and you can do them square, which is great for Instagram, or you can do them vertical, which is great for if you're going to do like you know, Instagram stories or Facebook stories or something like that. So it just depends on where you want these ads to be targeted. So today I've selected this particular template, which is called Shades. Once I've selected that, I would be able to go ahead and add the pictures here. In this particular one, 2 to 6 images. There's other ones in there. You can only do 1 picture. Just depends on which one you choose. You also have the option of adding your logo. So definitely plan to include your company logo in there. It's a great little, or your personal logo, great marketing for you. So having selected that, I then go ahead and select my photos. I can reorder them. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more as we go, but you'll notice that the ads that I have, the photos that I have here, they're all of the kitchen. All right, so for my sample home that I'm trying to market, one of the best parts of this house is this amazing gourmet kitchen. So for this ad, my thought is to really, really, really promote this beautiful, beautiful kitchen. I'm not trying to sell the house with this ad. I am trying to capture their attention. And, you know, if I'm going to start marketing, back when I was doing my interests, I might have put in gourmet, you know, kitchen, food interests, those types of things. And that's who I want to target. I want to get those foodies out there to go past this picture, this first picture of this kitchen and go, oh, click, I want to know more. That is all we're trying to accomplish. We are not trying to sell the house. We are trying to capture their attention. So anyways, as we go through there, we're going to go ahead and upload the pictures. You can pull them straight up from your laptop or wherever you have the photos stored. And you're going to go ahead and hit continue, and it's going to go ahead and put each one of those pictures in. And Facebook has made it a lot easier. You can select all 6 pictures all at one time, and they'll upload them. So once we've done that, then we're going to go ahead and click on customize. And we're going to get over to a screen that's going to allow us to select each one of these, what they call scenes, and customize each one individually. And basically what we're talking about is here where it says describe your product, that's what they're looking for, is the text overlay. You do not have to have text overlay on every photo. And in fact, I suggest you don't. But you definitely could start describing what's in the picture using these text overlays. And again, if I'm going to be using those text overlays, I'm not trying to sell the house. This is not the place to put 3-bedroom, 2-bath, great neighborhood, all the stuff that's already on your landing page. This is the place to capture their attention. So all I'm going to be talking about here in my describing the product is describing the kitchen. And I'm going to be describing it from their perspective. I'm going to be trying to draw them into the photographs that I am using. So again, we'll go through all of that. Once you have done all of those, you will be able to look at the video to make sure it's looking the way that you want it to. And then you would go ahead and click continue or use. A little bit more information. Again, you'll have all of this, but just some little ideas to keep in mind for your photos. And then I want to take a few minutes here, and Bailey, keep me on track as far as time. I'm trying to watch it at the same time, but I want to get through this. I keep emphasizing, and I'm going to do it again right now, that your Facebook advertising is not to sell the house. It is to get the viewer to stop scrolling. We all get on our Facebook and we go scroll, 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 scroll. If you've got a boring picture, the typical curbside shot that you see on the MLS every single day, you are not going to get your audience to stop scrolling and look at your ad. This is the #1 reason the majority of the ads out there fail. So we need to get something that absolutely just stops them right there. They just stop and look at it and they want to see a little bit more. So can you use curbside? Yes. If the property that you are marketing belongs on the cover of Architectural Digest, you can certainly still use the curbside shot. How many of us are lucky enough to have those listings on a regular basis? So be creative, okay? Think about something that is just eye-catching inside of the house. Think of things that people would just like to see. You just got to get them to stop and look. So, beautiful, beautiful staircase, or, even this kind of a simple shot may be enough to get them to go ahead and take a look at what you're marketing. If it's not gorgeous, go for funny, okay? We've all seen, again, on the MLS, the picture of the swimming pool. And it may look beautiful and it may be beautifully staged, but if you take that same photo and you put it on Facebook, chances are they're going to scroll right past it. Toss the dog in there. Use your dog, not theirs, unless you have permission. But something like this, Facebook being what Facebook is, they're going to stop at least long enough to read your headline. Again, we're trying to get them to go ahead and click, but this would be definitely something to capture their attention and get them to stop scrolling. Something like this as well, capture a feeling. Okay, you definitely you're trying to reach through that screen and just grab them. Okay, use people if you can. Again, most of our real estate photos are just stagnant pictures of rooms. And it can be hard to include people in. If this was your client's baby, you want to get written authorization to use that photo. Use your own baby if you want to. I mean, that type of thing. But you definitely want to If you can include people, just make sure you get the proper releases. Make sure that the mood of the photos actually matches the neighborhood and the house. Okay, I use the example here. If you're listing a luxury home, you probably are not going to get away with the picture of the goofy dog in the swimming pool. Again, capturing a feeling here. These are terrific photos. One very luxury, one very homey. So capture the mood. Be careful with blue. Blue and white, that's Facebook colors. And when you think about it, and if you are unfortunate enough to be marketing this particular house, this picture is just going to blend right into the background. Nobody's going to notice it. You're not going to be able to get them to repaint that room, most likely. So put a border on it, something that's contrasting and just helps that picture to stand out. And then this is what I did with our sample ad. Tell a story. Pick, a great feature about the house and tell a story about just that one feature. Again, the idea is to get them interested enough that they click over to the landing page that has all of the information about the house. All we're trying to do right now is to get their attention and get them to click. And so that's exactly what I did, is I focused on the theme. All right, so back to what we were doing. We've gone ahead and previewed everything. We're happy with it, and now we want to go ahead and use the video, okay? It will take a few minutes to create it, and it'll go ahead and get over. Quick thing about annotations there. Facebook will automatically annotate if you want to, and basically what that is, Facebook in general is people can put the sound off, and most of us do because we don't want to get caught looking at Facebook when we're supposed to be in our office meetings. So you can have Facebook go ahead and put in the captions, and I do recommend that you do that. And then this is where you're going to put in the website URL. Again, this is the landing page. Wherever it is that all of the information about that particular listing, that's the URL that you want to put in there. Please make sure that you're using your URL. I would not necessarily recommend sending them to, realtor.com or, some other site like that. You want these things to come back to you, not just in general. So make sure that you're using a landing page or a website where that property information is branded to you. Okay. Headlines aim for like no more than 25 characters. Make sure that there's some sort of an emotional hook in there. Okay. I used for this example, when this is the heart of your home. Okay. When the kitchen is the heart of your home. I am looking for a very particular buyer here. And so I'm looking at something that will resonate with them. Moving on, you're going to do a quick description. Okay. This is the text for the ad. Depending on the, is it going to be mobile or desktop? These will show up in a little bit different places, but this is the most important information that you're going to include in there. Okay, the gourmet kitchen is just one reason to love this new home. Okay, again, emphasizing one feature of this home. And then this is, when this is the heart of your home. So you've got all of that information. Talk to your specific audience. Okay, again, you're not trying to reach everybody for everything. You're trying to grab that particular audience. For my sample house here, I could do an ad where I'm emphasizing the kitchen, and I could do a completely separate ad where I'm emphasizing the swimming pool in the backyard. Just because you're doing one ad for this house doesn't mean it's the only one you can run. It's certainly inexpensive enough that you can be running multiple ads. Okay, make the emotional connection. Libraries are not just for reading. Okay, and this is I would have had the background, a little bit more clear here, but this is a great emotional appeal. We're not just selling the fact that it has a library, we're helping people imagine living in that library. A room with a view, okay? I would love to have that listing, but again, if there is something that is absolutely spectacular about your listing, make sure that you are making that, that emotional connection with the audience. I have never been a huge or never personally been terribly comfortable with using the negative emotions, but they are shockingly successful. And by negative emotions, I don't mean being negative or using bad words or anything like that. But this is an example. Be an investor, not a landlord. You know, we typically talk about don't use the word don't use the word not. This is an example where we're flipping it on our head. Okay, be an investor, not just a landlord. So that's an idea of a negative ad that you're turning it into a positive. The numbers, for whatever reasons, the numbers 10, 5, and 1 make great headlines. It gets people to engage. It gets people to click. So 10 reasons to see this home. Again, another emotionally appealing photo in there. I love this one. Okay, pose a question or a problem. Now, this particular photo is just a free from Pixabay photo. It's not an actual photo of anybody's house, but this would be an example of how to get people to stop and look and then click over to your landing page to get information about your house with those spacious closets. Again, some of us can recognize this photo. So what's in your closets? Another one, you've got people in it. So you've got all those picture things. Appeal to the guilty pleasures. Okay, if the house has just a phenomenal family room entertainment area, make a point of that. You know, when family and football are the most important things in your home. Right? And this one, and you know, I kind of created all of these just as an example. So feel free to steal them. These are you know, not things that I have used anywhere, but the open house Sunday after the game. You see how it all kind of ties together there. Okay, a house is made of bricks and beams. A home is made of hopes and dreams. Inspirational quotes. Facebook, Instagram, everybody loves the inspirational quotes. Turn your marketing ad into that inspirational quote. Things, you know, you couple it with a gorgeous, gorgeous picture, and they are going to be sharing that all over the place and marketing your ad for you. So, you know, this is a great way of getting your advertisement to go viral. So inspirational quotes are terrific. Okay, bucket lists. Okay, similar to the inspirationals. Appeal to, you know, what they want to do in their lives. Okay, be a master gardener. Okay? And I love this one, funny or unusual. And I would love to buy this loft personally. So I exposed my brick and beams, and now I'm the toast to cornerstone. I have a confession to make. You hear somebody say, I have a confession to make, and you're stopping. You want to know what's going on there. So basically the story behind this is that it was a conversion of a church into apartments. And so, you know, the ad that this gentleman ran, it was absolutely terrific. And, you know, I added the part, I have a confession to make, but the whole thing had a lot of, you know, double entendres in there, because it was really playing off the fact that this was a converted church. And it did, it had all these, you know, beautiful windows. This is his photo here. So if you can play up something like that and make it funny, make it, a little tiny bit scandalous, you know, something to get them to stop. If it fits for your house and your personality and the neighborhood that, you know, that you're selling, absolutely go for it. Because again, the key is to get them to stop scrolling and look at your ad. All right, so back, you will have the option to, you know, change some background colors and things of that nature. Don't forget your call to action. So, you know, learn more. It's going to vary depending on what your campaign is, but always, always, always remember to do that. Be careful with the create in multiple languages. Basically, all this is going to do is it's going to copy your exact ad, everything you've done up to now, so that you're going to have, remember I said you can have multiple ads under one ad set. It's going to create multiple ads, and then you're going to have to go back in there and do the translations. It's not going to translate for you. It just allows you to run the same ad in multiple languages. And then there's an optional display link. And so you'll see right here where it says downtownmiamiskyline.com. Use it. Okay. I mean, there's no point in not marketing and it doesn't even have to be the same as the landing page that you're going to. So definitely go ahead and use that to promote your personal website or your personal web page. The newsfeed link description, you can put additional text in here. Just keep in mind that most people are using their mobile phones. So what you put here, most people will not be seeing. You include it, don't leave it blank, but don't put your most important information here because most people won't see it. All right, so previewing everything, making sure it all looks the way that you want. And then as soon as you hit confirm, it will go live. However, you're not going to see it right away because, again, this being a housing ad, Facebook is going to take a close look at it first. So as soon as they send it live, they will send you a notification. And with that, Bailey, I think I did pretty good here. We've got time for some questions.
Anybody have any additional questions, please put those in the chat right now. I would like to encourage you guys to go ahead and use that. And I'd like to also ask if you guys are interested in the advanced version that we had spoke about earlier, please put that in the chat too. I'd like to kind of get a feel for if that's something you guys would be interested in before we schedule that with Kathy at the board. But other than that, if there's anything additional that I can do for you guys with any of your listings coming up, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, I am Bailey Canales with Sunbelt Title Agency. I did want to thank you guys for your time. I do see some interest for the advanced class. Sandra and Stephanie and Tasha would like to know, what is the difference between boosting a post and creating a Facebook ad, Melanie?
The only main difference is that boosting a post is Facebook's way of encouraging you to create an ad. If you remember when I was talking about, from the direction we came, one of your options was to use an existing post. Basically, boost a post is just the opposite way of doing that. Is you've got your ads, and then it's going to ask you to your posts, and it's going to ask you to boost the post. It's asking you to create an ad using that specific post. You need to go through most of the same steps, including creating your detailed audience and setting your budget. It does, however, limit the number of campaign objectives. It's going to be primarily, your choices are going to be primarily reach or brand awareness. They may put a couple of other ones in there. So be careful with that. If you want to create something where you have total control, start from the direction that I just did. You can still use an existing post as your ad, but you have more control. Boost a post, like I said, is just a quick, easy, dirty way to run an ad.
I love that. Okay, awesome. We are getting a lot of positive interest in the advanced class. So we will let you guys know when we've got that scheduled. I've got everyone's contact. And please make sure if your email address is not correct on the SCAR directory, please put that in the chat as well so that I can send you guys the copy of this PowerPoint. We've also recorded it, so we'll send you the link for that so that you can rewatch it with the PowerPoint at your own pace as well. And with that, thank you again, everybody. I do appreciate your time, and I look forward to working with you all soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.